Everybody, it's Mary. Welcome back to another reading about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Before I say anything else, let me just state that this reading and everything in this video is alleged and for entertainment and speculation purposes only. Okay, let's get down to business, all right? Alrighty. Oh, and by the way, happy Christmas, everybody. Okay. So, what's going on? I was using this deck yesterday, and I was thinking about Gypsy, and certain cards kept coming up, like this one. The Three of Swords in the shadows. This just came up now as I was shuffling to get ready for this reading. So, yeah, heartache is going on with Gypsy right now. And I do have her normal deck, her regular deck, but as I've been mentioning, I want to use a different deck because I want to see if the same cards come up. So also while I was shuffling yesterday, the Devil card dropped out for this about Gypsy. Am I surprised? Not really. So what I thought we'd do today is we're just going to do straight up Gypsy. We're going to do some oracle cards. We're going to do some tea leaves because they're piping hot tea. And yeah, we're going to do a check-in on Baby Aurora because I am really starting to believe that Aurora is not real, or at least not of Gypsy's body. The only thing that has me clinging on to the idea that Aurora is real is Lifetime. Why would Lifetime risk shooting a fake pregnancy and a fake birth? That is a very big lawsuit right there. I don't know who would sue Lifetime, but actually Gypsy or Ken could, or whomever that baby belongs to for real, could sue Lifetime. You know, they could have been like, yeah, we're gonna shoot this stuff, and then, you know, that's not excuse me, what happens. Here, these are very telling. This journey oracle. Let's start with some energy around Gypsy. You know, so yesterday when I was thinking about and shuffling these, I got again this. What came out was the Three of Swords and the Devil, and you know, I think we all know by now that Gypsy is aligned with the opposite of Jesus. You know, with the baby Yeshua born today. I wonder what Gypsy is doing today because, you know, apparently she's not really worshiping or going to church over, you know, baby Jesus. And where is her alleged Aurora? Where is she? It's, you know, I know when it was my son's first Christmas. He hates Christmas, actually. He's always hated Christmas. I have pictures of him as a baby, like going, get me away from Santa, and he's crying, you know. But why? This is her child's first Christmas. Where is she? Where's Gypsy? Where's the baby? Come on, for real? I mean, things were kind of blurry when I was doing the Blanchard family, and like, is Gypsy going to show up there, make an appearance? Like, I did my best reading, but part of that reading that I could not convey to you in cards is just my gut feeling, which was that it was shadowy and dark. If you go look at that video with the Blanchards for Christmas, you'll see that like my answers are kind of like not quite. I'm not 100% on what she's doing because, you know, I just don't know. And you know, these cards are actually kind of dark, so I don't want to do this for Aurora, but we'll take two. Let's see what comes out. Okay, so what is the energy? What is surrounding Gypsy, and if Aurora exists? I mean, Aurora's spirit exists on some spiritual plane. You know, whether she's ever born a gypsy or, you know, we just know her as, you know, Aurora because Gypsy put that out there. But I believe that there is an Aurora. It's just not Gypsy's baby. I know I've said in past readings that Ken is not going to have children, but he could. You know, the deck that I use for him is every deck is different, has different imagery, so it is possible because I have seen Ken in the future with his future wife, and I've seen a girl, and there is a daughter, but I can't say if that's Aurora. So Ken's going to need a lot of healing after what's going on. In fact, where is Ken? I don't know right now. He came out with that short statement, which you can see in my last video. Not defenders of the fake. Which one was it? I think it was Gypsy and Ken. Yeah. I wanted to know what's going on with Ken. So this is going to be Gypsy, and if Baby Aurora exists, like, let's see what's going on with Aurora. And then I think later tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to do Ken again. And maybe, not Ryan, Nicholas again, maybe. Because let's just take one moment before I start this reading to say, let us all think where Nicholas is today. You know, what's he having for Christmas dinner? You know, honestly, my Christmas day got kind of like all thrown off, and like, I don't know what I'm having for Christmas dinner, but I live in Manhattan, in New York City. You know, there are restaurants open, you know. Nick is in jail, so it's like, I'm pretty sure Christmas dinner in jail, no matter how much nice they try to make it, it's not going to be nice, you know. And I will always say this until I'm proven otherwise, that he was groomed by Gypsy. So, and he did not kill Dee Dee. That I get for sure. Oh, she's right behind me right now, Dee Dee. She wants to see what's going on in this reading. So let's see. She's been quiet lately too. Since the videos have come out, Dee Dee's been super quiet. But now I feel her or somebody else is behind me they want to see. So, okay, what's the energy around Gypsy right now? Treasure. Yeah, they certainly found her treasure trove of videos. And this is 13. And in the tarot deck, that's death. And also 13 reduces to 4, which is stability. And for her, in some weird way, these videos that she made, this reading about Gypsy is how she's doing today, but it's obviously like what just happened with the videos coming out. So like, what's her mindset, what's her mind frame, what's her moves for today for Christmas, and her alleged daughter. I mean, come on, why hasn't she put out videos opening presents, like, you know, not that creepy AF of like, Aurora, time for bed, and it's like, that thing isn't it's not moving. But those videos are treasure. And what I love about this oracle deck is that it is so dark. No, it's really dark. And this is Gypsy's videos, and yes, we have found a treasure trove of evidence on her. It has nothing to do with the murder. I mean, it does have everything to do with that, but it also goes to what I was saying before about the money, you know, treasure, money. She was, you know, she's going back to jail. Gypsy is going back to jail unless she unalives herself first. And I'm really concerned about that. That's what I was getting yesterday, that she is considering unaliving herself. That's the only way she can get out of this, what she's going through. Plus, as I like to say many times, you know, who comes knocking? Remember me? You might know me as Lucifer. You might know me as Satan. You might know me as Master. You know, you might know me as King Charming. But actually, I am Satan. I am the Prince of Darkness. And I've come calling for my pay. Again, I've come calling for my treasure. So this word is really good right now. And it's dark. And it's, you know, like in a mausoleum almost. Or like some ancient structure. And there it is. Right there, that's Gypsy's soul in all this darkness, you know, is a treasure for so many people. You know, in a sick way, she still sees herself as a treasure. You know, she still sees that she has some kind of value, some kind of, you know, it's more like it has to do with the SA. I don't want to get banned, so we're just going to call it SA, but welcome. You know, she wants. There's the stairs leading up to her little bit of purity or something. And look at the colors up here too, all red and orange. That's passion. That's the root chakra, passion. And the sacral chakra, the reproductive organs, the sexual organs. So, and birth, and all this darkness and stairs going up to it. So this is what's surrounding Gypsy right now. She still sees herself as a treasure, and the forces around her see her as a treasure as well. She still can be manipulated and used. You know, she's not the only one calling the shots anymore. That's why her life is kind of a mess. So here we go. Oh, the call. Yeah, look at this face. 1. Right? So it begins with me. It starts with me. This journey. So she's being called right now. to do something about those videos. I mean, to the Prince of Darkness, those videos are like gold. Not that he has any use for gold, but he uses gold actually to sway people, to tempt people, money, fame, power, things like that. So Gypsy right now, as I mentioned, the Devil card keeps coming up for her, and she, you know, the Prince of Darkness doesn't exactly mind if she unalives herself. You know, that happens a lot. But at the same time, you know, she's being called to, like, you know, hey, I see this for her too, you know, before she goes back to jail, which is coming for her at some point. It has to do with money and probably contracts. That's what I kept saying, something about contracts and money. And then I realized, don't you sign a contract with, you know, Satan? You do. Sign in blood on the dotted line. And she did. And so she's being called again, absolutely, to do something about this, the videos, and like the treasure. Her treasure in her mind is a baby, whatever baby that is, you know, her obsession with babies. And so she also, I'm thinking this may, or I'm getting this really may have to do with not necessarily Aurora, but whatever baby she's using. So, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Baby Aurora at some point. But she's being called yet again. It's like I said, Satan's come knocking and saying, like, yo, check it out. Remember, you owe me stuff? Like, it's a casting call. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, like her other option, and I could really see her doing this, is, you know, isn't there something called XXX online? Movies, videos, that kind of stuff. Like, easily. There are lots of men and possibly women, people, lots of people who would pay to see Gypsy. I don't want to, that's a horrible image, but yeah, she's considering, she'd have to go underground for a little while, but so far she's done that. She's not coming out, and basically she's actually considering, I guarantee you too, like, I'll do maybe another, sometimes I do like the independent party, the neutral party, not even neutral, like networks, like cards, a deck for the networks. And, you know, it's like they're probably already courting her for not the interview one that I said before, the one about, yeah, because like they may do an interview with her, but now because of the nature of those videos, I highly doubt that any respectable network wants to hear what she has to say. But there are other types of networks, and those would be, as I just said, XXX. I'm not getting banned. So, so let's pull some cards for Gypsy. We have 3. This one just popped out 4. And what else is going on with Gyp today? It being Christmas. Oh, I think, you know, this whole deck is upside down. So I just put it upside down. So let me check really fast. Although her life is upside down right now. Yeah, I put them upside down. So in that case, that's my mistake. That's okay. We can flip them. So, yeah. So let's see. What's going on with Gyp today? Christmas. You know, it's allegedly Aurora's birthday in 3 days. And yet there is no hide nor hair, no sight, no sound of Gypsy, which is very odd because you know she loves going on camera. We're going to Walmart or the pharmacy. I found a pad. She doesn't talk this way anymore. I love how in the police interview that anyone can see online, you know, I mean, as I said, I've been following her case since 2015 when it broke, and I'm into true crime and trying to help psychically if I can. And you know, like, as soon as they told her, you know, stop lying, you've been doing great, sweetheart. Just, you know, like, we know that, you know that how your mom died, you know. Her, oh my God, like, what? That voice immediately disappeared. Gypsy's changing her voice all the time, you know, so it's like, she can't, do you like to the cops? So, you know, it's like, no, her voice went right back down to like a normal pitch, and it's like, okay. So what's going on with Gypsy right now today, Christmas 2025? Justice is coming for her. Justice. The Sword of Truth and Clarity. Justice. Got the Dragon Collective coming in. This is the Ravyness Drakon deck. I've wanted this deck for a long time. It's actually a love story between a raven and a dragon. I think that is exactly yeah, appropriate for this insane love story that is also a murder story. But look, and we have the hand that's holding up the dragon. So this is not in the character of the dragon or the raven. They're the main characters. And it's hidden in the moon. So, you know, justice, this is divine. And it all will be revealed. Ooh, it might even be by the next full moon. I don't have my moon calendar at hand. Ooh, next reading I'm going to have to get that out. And we'll see. Because that is indicating me a timeline. Everything will be revealed. I'm getting a really strong feel. Yeah, she's going to be approached by a divine justice. Satan isn't necessarily divine as of God, but you know who created Lucifer? God did. So I see it that way too. Ooh, a tower. Yeah, troubles at justice and a tower. Look at that. Raven looks pretty determined. It's coming. It's coming. And you know, we've got the emptied egg here. And actually that's it looks almost like it's chains. The raven likes to hold on to clocks and shiny things, and it's empty. See, already I'm thinking, where's Aurora? There is no shiny thing. It's empty. She's chained, you know. A small part of me does feel bad for Gypsy. You know, it does, because her mother, God rest her soul, you know, did this to her, conditioned her into this, you know, willingly. Oh, sorry about the camera. I have a smoke table. I haven't moved yet. It's coming. But I love this deck, so I want to let you be able to see the cards. Okay, so we have Justice and the Tower. We have the Page of Pentacles with an owl type bird. Wisdom. Page of Pentacles. Beginning of something with people. It could be children. With Gypsy. Page of Cups. Again, children. Magical moments. A gift. And yeah, see, look, even the dragon is being birthed anew from the egg. So in Gypsy's case, this could be literally pregnant. Oh, I just got the message. And then we'll do the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, I just got the message. She's going to try to get pregnant by Ken to keep him around. If she isn't already doing that. Yeah. And it looks like she's going to be successful at it too. I'm hearing fertility clinic. She's going to go get jacked up on fertility drugs. And then she'll be able to have the prosperity that she thinks she deserves. Look at all these eggs. Yeah, she's... Oh, that's actually the dragon skin, but it looks like, you know, eggs and stuff. And yeah, like, and this is her seat of power, you know, of a dragon collective. Dragons have a lot of power. Very ancient, very old, very draconian. And, you know, she's using this, she's still aligned with those dark powers. So, apparently, so I see baby here, but this is coming, not already that what she has. It's coming. Thank goodness. So I think yesterday or the day before she was seriously contemplating unaliving herself as a solution. But now I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, I see her stronger and stronger going to jail. You know, so I believe that's the situation. I mean, I keep saying that, but with this particular reading, with the Page of Cups here and the Nine of Pentacles, yeah, I mean, look at that. And what kind of baby is birthed? I mean, look, I dragons, there's no negativity. I think this is such a sweet deck. I love it. And there's always a heart around. So, you know, she does have some sort of strange obsession with babies. I'm going to say in my own professional opinion, she has OCD. She might be borderline, excuse me, not borderline, what is it, bipolar. She acts in these manic-y ways sometimes, and then she, dances and does like manic activity. But again, I am not a professional. I'm not a medical professional, but in my unprofessional opinion, I believe she may be borderline, but she definitely has OCD issues. And so I think that's her obsession with babies. And also, like, for her, like, it's almost like magical things keep happening. So I know I keep saying that she's going to go back to jail, and it has something to do with money. But for now, her luck is going to hold out. So, and yeah, like, I don't know when the next full moon is. I have to look at it. But by then, more will come to light. More things about justice, okay? She's involved with shaitanic things. Eventually, justice comes calling. She screwed up. She screwed up the night of. I can do a reading about that because I've been there. And it's just I'm still trying to figure out who Slender Man 2.0 is. There was a dark entity, a dark presence in the room that night that was not human, in Dee Dee's bedroom. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this, and the timeline for that night. So as it looks right now, Gypsy's doing okay. She's laying low, and oh wow, a whole bunch of cards just fell out from her normal deck. So let's take those. And let's see what is the heart of the matter. Yet again, how many times do we see this card for her? That's the heart of the matter. See, the deck split and these cards just fell out while I was just going to move them to do Aurora. And yeah, look at that. We have the Seven of Cups again. She has her finger in so many holes. But I'm going to say now at this point, she's taking medication, not as prescribed, like that makes her sleepy. Like, remember that sleep baby stuff in the closet? All those medications and the medicine in the pantry in her house, in the Habitat for Humanity house. Yeah, she is. And again, she's obsessed with the baby. Rabbits, fertility. Okay. So, but here's an empty hole. She's focused on the one that's full, but there's empty holes. And then there's all these other things. It's like, it must be difficult for her to remember all her lies. And what else? This is the heart of the matter. But I don't know how this deck got into like this. The guy was just putting it back, and usually it would stay this way, like this, on top of each other. But no, and these cards fell out, so we're going to look at them in a moment. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which is, yeah, it's building a house, but look at her house. It's like she's being advised by a caterpillar. That's this particular deck, but, and also all the sweetness and the candy and stuff. But look, her house is built on mushrooms. It's a fungus, it's not, they're a good fungi for us, but I don't particularly like mushrooms. They taste horrible, and Gypsy is just like, and this is the character too that's usually with the Shaitan card, the devil card. It's just that she's fainted in that card, like she's pretending she's dead. And also this character as well. So we have the same two characters. So she's spaced out. And like I said, it's wine o'clock somewhere in the world. So she's drinking a lot, and she's also or taking medication inappropriately. And if she says she has PTSD, this medication should be like soothing, maybe a benzo, I don't know, but like Mother's Little Helper medications like that anti-anxiety. Like I said, I don't want to get banned. So, and then we have the Three of Pentacles here, which is, she is trying to figure out how to build a new house for herself. Her house is crumbling all around her. And that does not only mean the literal house she lives in. I'm talking about, like, her state of mind, her body, her house is crumbling around her. And take it from my spirit guides. And one of them happens to be Jesus, who's baby Jesus today. And God, I get messages from God. And so why would God care about this? Because there is a human, there are many lives involved in this, but ultimately right now she's looking real successful. She's gonna succeed. I'm really getting strongly that she's gonna go for fertility clinics, and she's managed to scrape up enough money to be content right now. But that's coming. What's happening right now is that justice, everybody's looking at her. We're all saying we're truth tellers. I was going to change my channel name to Truth Tarot, but no, not really. I'm established as a Celtic Kelly, and that is my name. So, but still, justice and change, big time, like crashing down. Her whole world is about to crash. It kind of has, and that's why she's already, like, you know, staying silent and gone underground. So let's see what Gypsy's regular deck. I was going to save that for last, but I guess we'll do some tea leaves last. We'll do Aurora next. So these fell out. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. Oh, they're upside down again. Well, you know, maybe that's for a reason, because here we have the Judgment card. Okay? Judgment. And again, you see this little rabbit, right? And this is not the Alice in Wonderland, okay? This is not. It may look like it sometimes, but it's not. So here we have another rabbit walking towards her, and she's got to make choices and decisions. She's also the rabbit, you know, very highly sexualized person. And the rabbit, but see, the sad thing about Gypsy is that she really thinks that's love. And, you know, it's not. And that's what I was saying about the treasure and the call. She thinks this darkness and this passion is love. And the darkness part is not. There's nothing wrong with having passion. Not at all. In your personal, you know, relationships. Or even your work relationships. Maybe you're very passionate about what you do, or you have your belief system or whatever. But in this case, look at this. It's like, it's so dark. Sorry about the glare there. And yeah, judgment. Judgment. I'll put that over justice because it's coming. It's coming. It's here. It's already here. You know, like we're all looking into this, you know, like that. So, and then right here we have the Three of Cups. I just said she's been drinking. She's, look at the, if I'm not mistaken, the caterpillar has a hookah pipe, right? I'm not saying that she's smoking anything, but I am saying she is not taking her medications as prescribed for a reason, and she's drinking. And this card is usually celebration, you know, like not the same time as like a community thing, is a community celebration, like a harvest fair or a carnival type of thing. No, this is like, she's probably, look at the mermaids. I mean, this is completely unrealistic in her mind. She has these insane delusional, you know, fantasies. I mean, there's nothing wrong with mermaids, you know, but she's drinking for sure. I could put that right there. What else wants to be heard? Right. Okay. Oh my goodness. What's coming? Let's see what wants to be heard. We have the 10 of Swords yet again. Bree is freaking out for sure. Bree doesn't exactly know how to handle this situation. And, you know, see, judgment is, Gypsy doesn't get to judge this time. You know, this is a higher force at work. Justice, this is a higher force at work. The Tower, these two things. The Tower is pretty much out of our hands, all of us. And justice is, it depends, you know, if we go to court, you know, who takes who to court. But ultimately, it rests in the judge's hands. It's not entirely in our hands. And this is not Gypsy. All these other cards, check it out. They're all the blondes, 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 right? How many wigs does this woman wear? How many wigs does Gypsy wear? Come on. Again, we get the sweetness candy, sweet, sweet, sweet. And you ever see her spoon sugar into her coffee cup? The first time I saw that video, while she does her morning mommy thingy and has a giant cup of coffee, and she puts 3 giant spoons of sugar in it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's like regular white refined sugar. I think it's refined. Yeah, it's refined. So it's like the worst sugar you could ever use. You know, like, I'm not judging anybody. I personally use organic turbinado sugar, you know, but like I have my own health reasons for that. You know, Gypsy, on the other hand, wasn't she allergic to sugar, according to her mother? You know, didn't she lose all her teeth because of that? And yet she's eating, you know, and still she's the star of her own show. And, you know, the 10 of Swords, it's just an indication that, like, yeah, everything's going to fall down around her. It's like a mini death. It's like a mini death. But she's going to resurrect herself, or try to, by having a baby with Ken. And if not Ken, somebody else, then she'll have a reason to leave Ken. Let's see what the last card that wanted to be heard is. Oh my gosh, I can't make this up. So we have the 10 of Swords. Somebody stabbed her in the back and killed her. And I mean that like colloquially. I do not mean that like literally. Gypsy. Okay, yeah, she is. She's in the videos came out. And, you know, this almost reminds me of Into the Weeds, who put the videos out there. Here's a little orange for you. Here's your little Christmas treat. In Chinese culture and Buddhist, you know, like oranges are like luck and sweetness and good fortune. And Gypsy, it's like, yeah, for us maybe to find out the truth. Brie is really having a meltdown, you know, seriously. And here's Simona with the white pinkish wig. So, I'm sorry if me doing Gypsy's voice creeps you out, you know, like let me know. But I just think it's really funny that, you know, she talks like Minnie Mouse. It's just like she says the most vile things coming out of her mouth with that little voice going on. And I don't know why. I find that so funny, but it's really not. I mean, and at this point, Gypsy we're taking her down. But why? Because she schmurdered her mother. And she'll schmurder anybody else who gets in her way. Just because she's laying low right now doesn't mean that she won't succeed, because she is. She's holding on to what she still has right here. She's even planning how to rebuild her house. She believes she has this treasure, whether it's a fake baby, a real baby, no baby, or Gypsy herself, or whatever her sexuality prowess, you know, that's what she uses. Sex and Satan. And, you know, she was called to this. You know, she didn't just stumble upon this one day. No, it was like she got a phone call almost like, hello, is this Gypsy Rose? And she's like, yes. And it's like, hello, this is fill in the name with a blank there. David. Let's use the word David. Those of you in the know who David is. And it's like, would you like to, or David's more like, you know, want to go to Disney World? Meet me there in like a, I don't know, a white dress and a red wig. I mean, yeah, the coding going on there with the sex trafficking, you know, is, yeah. So yeah, and ultimately, let's not forget, you know, she did unalive her mother, excuse me, schmurder her mother. I can't stop and redo this video. Once the cards come out, they come out. And I will not edit it. I won't do that. I don't make up things. So, this is what's coming through. And I have, as I said, I've been there the night of. I can go see the Akashic Records and consult them, and then I can actually see what happened in the house that night, or any particular channeling I do, if that entity wants to let me in or come to me. So yeah, like the other day I channeled Ava Braun, Ava Braun. Yeah, you can look her up. I'll tell you another day what she said. Well, actually, it has to kind of do with this card. She said she didn't want to be killed. And she said other things. So if I could do that to Mr. Hitler's wife, you know, one day wife, then I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that I can pretty much channel anyone who wants to come through. So Gypsy, in my vision and consulting the Akashic Records, she did sit on Didi's back, not her front, but her back. Although I'm getting a picture now, though, that Didi did turn around at some point, and Gypsy couldn't care less. In fact, she didn't want to do it in the back. She wanted her mother to see what she was doing. That was necessary for the ritual. So, allegedly, everything I say is alleged. So, yeah, but this is pretty much like what she did with her mom. She literally did sit on her and inflict the fatal wounds. Excuse me. So, this is what's going on in the background, in the shadows. This is the shadow deck. This is not a shadow deck. She's laying low. She's keeping on to her money. Justice is coming for her. Change is coming for her, obviously. Like, everything is changed. And, somehow, in the short term, she's going to be successful, but alone. So what I'm getting here, again, I just glanced at the Nine of Pentacles. What I'm getting here is that I'm also getting that she can't be tried twice for the same murder. The same crime. But she's basically the focus is going to be taken off that in a way, because she's going to be successful and get away with it. In fact, somehow this empowers her, that she went to jail for a certain amount of time and she's out free now, and somehow this empowers her. She does have supporters besides Bree. So, but what does it rest on? It rests on a baby, magic, flying fishes and stuff. And this is not this deck. This is a separate deck, and it has still the same type of imagery. Gypsy does get a lot Page of Cups quite often. So, you know, this is the beginning though of a journey, like some weird magical, like I smoked the wrong stuff type of, you know, mystical thing. She's not, I don't think she's doing that, even though in this card, you know, she is smoking a hookah pipe. I don't think she's doing it. I don't know if it's legal in the state of Louisiana. In New York it is. I can't stand it. I gotta hold my breath every time I walk past people like token up and stuff. I'm like, get that away from me. But anyway, yeah. So she, right now, so in the shadows, she's been judged. She's still getting away with drinking, but not so much with, I mean, we suspect, you know, so it's already out there. And she's been stabbed, you know, she's been like mini death, you know, this feels like a mini death to her. And why is this happening? Because of what she did, allegedly, to her mother. And already justice is coming for her. And her life is falling apart. Kind of. We don't know, because she's hiding, which is why we're going to do the bunny deck in a moment. So, yeah. And so everything is going to come crashing down. But she'll rebuild it. She will rebuild it back up again. She's still kind of obsessed about babies and holes and this treasure that she thinks she is, and the call. She believes she's called to do something. Like, she's delusional in this sense. She literally believes that she's been called to some higher purpose in life than the average human being. Take a look at this picture. This is why I like this Oracle deck sometimes, because it's like very realistic, very dark. And so, yeah, and so then Gypsy's gonna use like fertility clinics and all types of magic. I don't get dark magic here. She screwed that up somehow. She ruined that, you know. So, oh, look, I accidentally turned this upside down. Yeah, she's gonna be losing money too. So she's gonna have to come up with some kind of magical plan or baby to get money. You know, even if it's only child support, you know. So she's gonna, and ultimately she will be successful at this. Okay, very successful. Single too. Ken still is not gonna marry her. So especially not now. But the Nine of Pentacles is like the ultimate singles card, and it's more about balance, harmony, and stability, and like you did it yourself, you know, you got it yourself. But it can also be like, you know, you're all by yourself, you're all alone. So usually it's a good thing, it's an empowering thing. But since Gypsy so desperately wants to be someone's wife, or she thinks she does, because when wifely duties come, what does she do? She gets resentful and angry, you know, like when she's ironing those clothes or whatever. So, you know, she's very misguided. And this is Aurora. Oh, okay, all these cards are stuck together. Besides, they'll come back out if they're meant to be seen. So Aurora, what is going on with Aurora? Let's see. 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna put them right on top of Gypsy, because there would be no questions about Aurora without Gypsy. So, is she real? If so, is she being taken care of? Especially now during Christmas. Her birthday is allegedly in 2 days. Allegedly Aurora. What's going on with allegedly Aurora? Let's see. We have the King of Swords. Look at that. The King of Swords. How interesting. I'll get to that in a moment. The Milky Way. This is getting more... we're diving deep here. Diving deep into the rabbit hole here. The Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Swords. Interesting. Very interesting. 2, 7, 7 next to each other. This is really... and the Ten of Swords. The truth is coming out about Aurora. I don't think she's real. I think she's a fantasy. I think she's just a fantasy that Gypsy has. And that, yeah, I was thinking, like, it's just that Lifetime thing that's really getting in the way. Why would Lifetime film her pregnancy journey and the live birth if there isn't any child? How could Lifetime get away with that? You know, it only takes one person to open their mouth and there's trouble, you know, big trouble. That whole network could collapse. But stranger things have happened. Look what happened to Harvey Weinstein. So, you know, Miramax. So it could happen, you know, Lifetime could go down. So what I'm getting here is that Baby Aurora is not real. I'm getting that Ken is like stuck out there in the, like literally out in the Milky Way somewhere, like spaced out. Like he cannot deal with this. He cannot deal with what's going on. Okay, I know I've said in the past he loves Aurora, he loves her so much. I think he's bought into Gypsy's idea of a baby, and that is what he's fallen in love with. And when they show anything that has to do with Aurora, like mostly her legs, those legs are too fat for a baby. Come on, for a less than 1 year old baby, unless that baby has serious medical issues. When my son was born, he had to be placed in a NICU. He was like Nicholas, actually. The cord was wrapped too tight around his neck. But my son is perfectly fine, thank God. And I had to have him tested when he was 5 to go to special schools, like gifted and talented. And so my son is very well, thank God. But the point is that there was a woman next to her baby was in the incubator next to my son, and that baby was twice the size of a normal baby, like an infant baby. And I was, you know, like trying to find out like what's going on with this mom and how can I help her. Well, I sit there with my 1 day old baby, and I'm just like figuring out like how does this thing work, you know, like what do I do? Nah, I just would sing to him and feed him and stuff, you know. So, you know, but Ken, he wants that. But Ken also, King of Swords is like also justice. You see? Baby Aurora, there is justice. I think it's Ken who's going to be the one to actually come out and say this is all, you know, BS. I can't live like this anymore. He's out there somewhere in the Milky Way. And so is Aurora. You know, she's like a dream. Anytime I try to read her energy, she's like a star. I see her future as a young adult, like a 10-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl, maybe even like an 18-year-old girl. But that doesn't have to be Gypsy's daughter. It could be Ken's daughter with somebody else. You know, Ken could be spaced out too. But this is what I get for Aurora. A lot of angels, a lot of protection, a lot of, you know. See, where is most of the fighting coming from about Aurora? Now it's about the videos and Nicholas more so. And Aurora too. Because she talks about how Demona got it all. And I'm like, Demona is you. You stole it, you know? But, Gypsy. But yeah, so even like the issue of Aurora has to be defended because it's deception and they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it. Somehow Aurora is going to bring justice about. The King of Swords is the master of justice. And let me call your attention to this butterfly up here. Change. Change. Change is coming, and it's coming through Aurora, mostly. The Tower moment, King of Swords, justice. The lid's going to get blown off of this. It already has. You know, no one's really focusing on Aurora right this moment too much, even though it's Christmas Day, and you would think the first, you know, Christmas for your child, you'd be out there with your camera and videotaping every single thing, including, didn't Gypsy show not Aurora, but her throwing away diapers? I mean, like, she'll show everything, including changing diapers, but no, because I don't think there is an Aurora. I don't think there is an Aurora. Not now. Maybe one is coming. I think so. I think Gypsy's going to successfully get herself pregnant. the microdeletion, I looked it up. I did research. It turns out that 90% of women who have a microdeletion, as Gypsy does, can have children. 90% of them carry them to term and have healthy children. The concern is, did the child inherit the microdeletion gene? That's it. And also, it's more male children and males who have more issues with microdeletion than females. So this card right here tells me, with the last card is the first card and the last card, that Aurora is probably not real. The idea of her may be real. They defend constantly, but Aurora this, Aurora that, and Aurora this, and Aurora that. No. Why are they so defensive? The lady doth protest too much. Oh, look what that just happened to land on top of, you know? I mean, come on. I can't make this up. Okay, yes, this has to do with Dee Dee, but also Aurora. Not that she murdered a baby, but there was no baby. So she kills the baby idea, the notion of the baby, with her actions. So, Gypsy's actions. So, that's what's going on. And that's it. Now, because this is on an open end, and so Aurora, and the notion of Aurora has to be defended, but it's all lies and deception. And right now, because people are looking at the videotapes and about Nick and Gypsy and Nick made me do it and stuff, yeah, she kind of like told him what to do. She taught him how to do the 50 Shades of Grey thing, how to be Christian Grey, and not a successful Christian Grey either. So, you know, what did it last? They lasted for 5 days. Excuse me, I take some water. So, this is a little open-ended because also the Ten of Swords is like a transformation. It's a mini death, and you know, which goes with change with the Tower. You know, there's a mini death going on here. It's Aurora. I feel that she's gonna, the idea of Aurora dying, and that's the only way I can see them getting rid of her, if they say she's real this whole time, is to say somehow that she died, and God forbid she was really a child who dies, but that is the only way I can think that they could get rid of her. Like, where is she? She's gonna be 3 years old going to nursery school. Where is she? What does the teacher have to say about that? You know, it's like they can't keep this charade up. Meghan and Harry could, because they got the money and the means. That wants to be heard. You know, they can homeschool their children. And anyone who thinks I'm a Meghan Markle hater, I'm not. I've just been watching her since 2018. And that insane show. I'd like to do a reading on Gypsy and Meghan and see how much their energies match up. Because other than Meghan did the whole Epstein Island thing. That's how she met Prince Andrew. That's how she met Eugenie. And then that's how she got into the royal family. Gypsy did not end up on Epstein's Island, but what do they have in common? Think about it. So, what do the tea leaves have in store? Because we have we have some success on Gypsy's part with having a child, perhaps a baby, or the idea, this magical notion of having a baby. It's deception, and ultimately a transformative thing with death. Okay, so let's see. And justice. The King of Swords is just, and things will change. They'll transform, usually for the better. And I think Ken is a Libra too. So this could be Ken. You know, he is supposed to be Aurora's father if Aurora exists. But right now, I think that his mind is just on like static. He can't deal with what's going on. So it's just like, yeah, he wants all the videos to come out. You know why? Because then the whole truth will come out, and then he'll have a very good reason to leave Gypsy. That's why. But I don't see any Gypsy. I see everything as kind of like magical. Like even touching, feeling the energy of the cards. I feel all this energy coming out, but it's kind of like a soft energy. Like everybody's like spaced out in her camp. except for Bree. Bree's running around like a lunatic, like trying to figure out how to do damage control right now. Other than Bree, everybody else is kind of like, what the heck? And they're like drinking and stuff. Like, it's Christmas, let's just have more wine. You know, that type of thing. And look what just came out. Graves, trying to go out and have fun, which is basically the way they have to deal with this. You know, it's like they're not exactly going out having fun, but Graves, wine, come on, I cannot make this up, right? You saw the cards fall out. Apple, who made me do this? Eve, who's Gypsy? Temptation will test you. Who is this? Gypsy has already been tempted, and she's apparently passed the test. So, who is this one for? Yes, I'm reading for Gypsy, and if Baby Aurora is real, which I'm saying no today. Today I'm saying no. Look, I'm not gonna make up things. I'm on a 50-50 fence here about Aurora. Sometimes it's 51-49, but it really is looking more like 99. She's not real, and like 1% chance she is real. But what temptation? Why would a baby be tempted? Aurora can't say or do anything right now. So this can't be about Aurora, but it could be about her person, you know, that like they're tempted to keep saying that she's real when clearly she is not. It doesn't appear so. And, you know, the deception, the Ten of Swords for Aurora in particular, because we have the Ten of Swords for Gypsy. It's almost like mommy, like daughter, not Aurora, but, you know, it just made me think of Dee Dee for a moment, you know. So that's what we got going on with the apple. And what is Gypsy doing? You know, she's pointing a finger at Nick, right? Just like, what did Eve do? God comes around like, yo, what's up? Why are you clothed? Who told you about being naked? And they're like, what? But we don't know what you're talking about, God. And then God just confronts them and Adam and says, you know, like, what did you do? Did you actually do what I said? Look, both times it's like doubly so. And then we'll do a last card. You know, did you eat of the tree of the knowledge, right? And what is that? Adam goes, she made me do it, right? In this case, and Eve was like, the snake made me do it. I didn't do it. The snake made me do it, right? Yeah, because she's drunk. She's like a succubus, and you know she's the one who got Nick in jail. She's the one who was tempted. She's the one who bit that apple, and she's still going to be tempted a lot and tested a lot in the next few. I'm hearing weeks. So let's see. Ram, a stubborn, aggressive person. Again, I'm hearing for some reason. David, if you don't know who David Blanchard is, I suggest you might want to look him up. It's almost impossible to find him online, but there's another content creator who's pretty good, and that's Karma Collector, and he mentions Dave Blanchard. I went crazy looking for David Blanchard myself. Here we can pull one more Oracle card while I'm talking, but and we're at 52 minutes. Yay, I'm under time today, and then maybe I'll do later on some of the men surrounding this. I mean, I can't see how Ryan would ever take her back. I believe that that Gypsy has secrets on them, these men that are in her life, but I think the secret at this point is that, yeah, she got them into, you know, satanic rituals and stuff and dark magic, and they probably did things that, you know, once you let demons in, it's really hard to get rid of them, you know, so unless you know what you're doing. So basically, that's why I think they don't leave. Ken, on the other hand, since he left her while she was in jail, he left her once before. He was able to do it. He got lured back by Lifetime pretty much, and what Christy did. You know, but basically, that's how Gypsy's able to keep men around. And she doesn't realize that she's a slave herself. And she wants to be, I'm your slave. So, you know. But let's see, who is this stubborn, aggressive person? Yeah, we can ask the Oracle deck. Who is this stubborn, aggressive person in Gypsy's life? I mean, Bree is pretty stubborn and aggressive. But let's see if anybody else comes up. I'm really curious. Maybe I'll do a reading about David Blanchard later. You know, and having no knowledge, hardly any knowledge about him, because one thing that I saw was that on the day that they discovered Dee Dee's body, a man came into the household. It wasn't just the next door neighbor, the neighbor from across the street, or her daughter. There was a man there too. And I was like, who is that man? So I tried to look it up, and it said the name was something Blanchard, right? This was years ago. So I looked it up, and it was like, no relation. And I'm like, that's a weird, strange coincidence. What do you mean, no relation? Blanchard is not a common name. And you're going to tell me that someone, a male who looked to be in his 20s or early 30s, just went into the house like it was his? That's a crime scene. You know, I mean, what? He's checking on his investment is what he's doing. He's absolutely related to Rod. Why did why did Rod and, Dee Dee get divorced? Why? Because they got married for the wrong reasons. Okay, you know what? Men who marry women because they're pregnant is the right reason. They might not like it, but that's doing the noble, honorable thing, right? But no. Rod, that's his only explanation for the wrong reasons. Yeah, anything having to do with Satanism is wrong. So I'm sorry if any of my viewers out there are Satan worshipers, but like that's my stance on that. I don't have anything to do with dark magic, darkness, Satan, anything, even though Satan is God's creation. Technically, he is my brother because I'm a child of God. We're all a child of God. But he's the brother you don't want to have, So I reject Satan in all his forms, its forms, and that's it. And so, for Gypsy to have this come into her life, I'm thinking this stubborn, aggressive person, though, is going to be Bree, and she's going to hold on to this because this is over 10 of Swords. So she's trying desperately to not have Baby Aurora die. I don't mean literally, I mean it like the topic. Bree believes, whether she really knows the truth or not, what she says she believes, which is why she's kind of like a discombobulated mess. She can't get she can't add 2 and 2 because she's so confused because she doesn't have the facts. She's in it for the money. She's in it for the money, and she does believe that she's empathetic and sympathetic to Gypsy, and she likes having Gypsy as like her bestie, and it gives her attention and fame and stuff. And I'm just feeling like this is Bree, possibly David Blanchard. I wasn't reading about those people, but you never know what comes up in the cards, So let's see one more thing. Forgiveness. This is nice. Really, truly, it is. It is nice. And we have 13 again. Where did I have 13 before? You can't. Oh, we have Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. My glasses. This is 43. Another 7. We have the 7 for forgiveness. And we have the 7 of Wands and the 7 of Swords. It's 777. That's luck. That's like jackpot. Ching! So the key to all this is forgiveness. And like I was saying, I've said in many videos, like Aurora is the one, whether she's a spirit, an angel, or a spirit guide attached to Gypsy or Ken, or anybody in Gypsy's family, she is the one who's going to bring forgiveness around. She does not have to be on the earth plane to do that. I just made a peace pact, almost, if you want to call it that, with my grandmother, my father's side. She was really mad at me, and you don't need to hear the whole story right now. The point is that, we patched it up, and she's been deceased since 1975. So, yeah, like that was on she came in to visit me, and she was really upset and angry. So forgiveness is the key. And this is a good card, like whatever is going to die eventually, Gypsy will be successful, but in a minor, these are minor arcana cards here, not this Justice and Tower. Those are big cards. Those are major arcana. She's going to go through some transformation, some kind of death. Also with Aurora, we're going to find out the truth. See the sun here? It's going to illuminate the truth. And this also represents the dawning of a new day. So even though the swords came down, the sun, typically, you can make the sun either going up or down in this card if you want. But I see it. I get the very clear message that the sun is rising on this situation with Aurora. And also illuminating here the deception. Seven of Swords deception, getting away with it. Right? For now. But ultimately, no. And what's going to happen after the, the alcoholism, the drinking, the temptations, and, giving into temptations, and this stubborn person, which could also be Gypsy. I mean, she's got aggressive. She's very aggressive. Very. But I'm not getting this as Gypsy. I'm getting this as Bree, or I'm really getting David. Also, you know, the ram, the horns. What is the sign for the Satanists? Here, let's put this picture together for a moment here. Let's cover up this sweet little bird. Let's reverse this. What do you got? Okay. Definitely Satanism going on. My stomach, my throat. I feel sick, my poor heart. But ultimately, there will be forgiveness. I don't know when. So you got a 7 here and 3 7s. It seems like their luck is going to like kick back in. And it's like they hit the jackpot. They'll get away with it. But maybe getting away with it has to do with forgiveness. Because the Prince of Lies, the Prince of Darkness, does not understand the concept of forgiveness anymore. So I think Gypsy is going to be the one asking for forgiveness, truly. Not that fake show she put on in court when she was, you know, sentenced. So I think that, you know, actually I've had a vision of Gypsy. She does go back to jail. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really long sentence. And that is when she turns away from Shaitan, and she's going to become a minister, or I don't know what else is called in other denominations, Christian denominations, but of some sort, a minister. And she will actually, you know what, look, this is even right over here, over the call. Even though, you know, this is like a highly like sexualized card image for a card, you know, this isn't the XXX deck, okay, but for an average deck, that's pretty, you know, sexy, I would think. And this is how she might get put in jail, you know, like kind of almost drugged out look in her eyes, you know. But ultimately there will be forgiveness. And I have said that in many readings in the past, especially if Aurora's around, or if I do Aurora, you know, a reading on Aurora. So basically, that's what I see for Gypsy in the future, is that apparently right now she's going to get through this Justice and Tower moment. Is Ken gonna leave? When? I've said it in other readings. I'll link them up. I'm learning how to do that, so you can go check out the older videos, and you don't have to be all over the place repeating myself over and over again to you. I don't like doing that to you. But I get all this information. It's like bam, like a huge download, and there's no filter, and I don't want to filter, because then my brain is in the way, and I would much rather just come through. I'm just a medium. I just channel the messages. I don't have much of an opinion on it. I mean, when I finish a reading, I have opinions, but when I'm reading or channeling, the best is when it's like there's no filter on my brain or my heart, and then I can just tell, you know, like exactly what's coming from my spirit guides, or sometimes God will speak. So yeah, like really big, like she'll get this call, the call to change, actually, because it was treasure, so it starts with this, right, and then the call, and then forgiveness. So eventually, someday, and this is all the way at 43, this forgiveness, see, she did it, allegedly, murder, allegedly. But even if she does get pregnant and is successful at that, she's successful at getting pregnant, I don't see her having a baby. Actually having a baby. That's sad, but you know, I've also seen her have a miscarriage, like in my visions, and they were able to hide it. So, you know, I think there is the indication of, yeah, against the odds, magically she will. And if it's not literally a baby, it's other little bits of magic that are happening in her life. Like her going back to jail is miraculous almost, you know, for her to get caught at something different and go back to jail and change for the better. Forgiveness, you know. I'm also hearing Dee Dee forgives her. I just heard that. I forgive her. Now she's being silent. So, okay. Next to my red candle for passion, but for, no, it's not for passion, it's for Christmas. It's an apple cinnamon candle. So with that said, in this reading, I hope that you got something out of it. You know, I was really worried. I did feel very strongly that Gypsy is considering unaliving herself. And it doesn't appear that way at all. You know, now. Not at all. She might be spaced out, zoned out, you know, doing whatever she can to not think about it, what's going on. But, you know, ultimately she's and she's gonna stick with her story too. I just got that. She's a stubborn, aggressive person. It's Bree, probably can be David Blanchard. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Maybe I'll do a reading on him later, as I said. But I just got right now too that Gypsy's stubborn. She's gonna be really, really stubborn right now. Stick to her story, because she's gonna get through this. You know, her going back to jail is in time, not any time like very soon. No, because it has nothing to do with the murder of her mother. It has to do with monies. I don't know exactly what or how, and something with a contract. So that's, you know, but that's not today's reading. Today's reading is what's Gypsy have to do on Christmas. Is Baby Aurora real? Is she around? No, there's nothing to indicate that Baby Aurora is real or around at all. Nothing at all, other than defending the fact that she is by Gypsy and or Ken. You know, they gotta defend the idea. So that's what I have for today. I will be back with another reading for you. Who is it? Yeah, like guys. I want to do guys next. You know, I just did Nicholas the other day, so I'm trying to think who. Like Ryan's pretty much out of the picture now, gone. I don't see Gypsy going back to him for any reason whatsoever. She was considering it, but now I don't believe that she's gonna do that. I think Ryan is going to fade into like obscurity himself very, very quickly. I think he was on Perez Hilton, and that's it. It's like they're going to examine him and move on. You know, like he's not interesting enough. You know, he's her ex-husband, and you know she may have considered going back to him. We could do a reading on Ryan, like just to see what's next for him and stuff. But I don't see his like attachment to Gypsy. He had nothing to do with this. You know, so he's not really part of it. Ken is, because Ken is still with Gypsy now. Nicholas, obviously, why? The David Blanchard, the Blanchards, they're still part of Gypsy's life. But Ryan, he pretty much is not a part of Gypsy's life today. So it's like, do I really want to read about him? Not really. That's why I feel like, you know, he's going to be irrelevant soon. Because it's like, what does he have to say that would add or do anything in an interesting or productive way to this relationship that you have with Gypsy? It's done, you know? I mean, I could read Ryan to see if he's out of her life for good. I'm pretty sure he is, though. We did Nicholas the other day. I did Ken the other day. So, yeah, maybe I'll just go through your requests for other people. And see, maybe I'll do a reading about some of your specific requests. I'm still trying to figure out how to, there's one little piece missing for the events leading up to the day of. We're going to call that Dee Dee's not birthday, the opposite of her birthday. And the day of, or the night of, is now and forever going to be called, referring to Dee Dee's unaliving, allegedly. So, yeah, so maybe, because, you know, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do today, so, like, I have time to read today and channel. So, you know, thank you for being the best part of my channel. Thank you for giving me something I love to do. I love reading all your comments, so please, yes, comment below. I try to get back to everyone. And yeah, I hate to say it, but you know, the algorithm is hungry. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, let the video run to the end, because the algorithm likes to see watch time. That's the key. For anybody who wants a YouTube channel, you gotta have end watch time, which is sane people, not like me. They'll make a 3-minute video. You watch it till the end. Me, we're going 109:36 seconds, you know, so but you know, I hear y'all telling me that you don't mind me going on, because like I'm reading like 2-3 people at a time usually. So if I just read one person at a time, it would probably be like a half hour, 20 minutes. But yeah, right now I'm like doing some in-depth work here. But yeah, because the reason why I honestly am saying this about the algorithm and stuff is just because as soon as I hit 500 followers, subscribers, then we can do an interactive live, and I'm really looking forward to that. I really love to, you know, see your comments scrolling by, or your pictures scrolling by while we interact and chat. You know, it's like, come by, have a cup of tea, relax, settle in. Here comes a reading and an answer to your questions. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you so much for everyone who's followed me today. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope that you're having a wonderful holiday today. And yeah, with that said, much love, many blessings. I will see you in the next one. Okay, take care. Bye. Bye.